Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Squarely Speaking podcast, where we talk about how to build a thriving web design business. I'm Diane Whidden.
And I'm Caitlin Deacle.
And we're so glad that you're here. We were going to host Neal Mann from Noan, one of the co-founders of Noan today, but he had a family emergency. So Caitlin and I are going to do what we do best, and we are going to wing it today and go with the flow. We're going to shift things a little bit. We're still going to talk about AI and content creation and all those kinds of fun things, but we're going to base it around Claude and share our experiences of Claude and how we've been doing stuff. So, and Leska's here. Hi, so good to see you, Leska. We're so excited you're here. And yeah, so since this has been a shift in literally the last hour, so please share your questions with us. That's really going to help us out today. Let us know what you want to learn, what we can talk about, what we can help you with. And yeah, we'll jump right in. Anything to add, Caitlin, before we get rolling?
No, I think we should start with how I found and or became a Claude convert.
I agree. This is such a good story.
So when we were working on some marketing stuff, I don't know, when was that? February? This is pretty recent for me. Was it March?
Yeah, I was gonna say a couple months ago. Yeah, probably February, Marchish. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not that long ago. Yeah. I've been using ChatGPT mostly, but always the free plan. And I was just like, it's not that big of a deal. I can't get it to sound much like me. And then you were using it for your emails, your marketing emails. And I was like, I got to see how this works.
Because and we were co-working. And
yes.
that was the thing. I was like, I'm going to write all my emails today. It was like 14 emails or something. And you were like, yeah, right. Sure you are, Diane. That's going to be a trick. But then you watch. So I'll let you tell it. But yeah.
No, yeah, go ahead. It's just like watching you put the prompts in. I was like, oh, I see how this. Oh. This is worth it.
Right. Yeah, because it was, and I think this is a mistake that a lot of newbies make, and certainly was the mistake that I made when I started messing around with chat and with Claude, is that I just would, you kind of ask it, I kind of put in something, I'm not really sure what I'm going to say. That's something we should talk about today, is like proper prompt formula, if there is such a thing. But once I learned how to really talk to Claude, like it's an actual human and give it all, what would I tell an assistant? If I were sitting down with an assistant and saying, I need you to write all these emails for me, what are the things that I would say, and what information would I give her, and what templates would I give her, and all this, because you can dump tons of information into Claude. And so once I started doing that, then it was like Claude was like, oh, okay, here's email number 1 and here's email number 2, and it just it can run with it, but you have to be able to give it the right amount of context, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful. And I would also add too, it also helps if you pay for it.
Yes.
There is a massive light year difference between what it gives you on the free plan and what it gives you on the paid plan. And the paid plans are not that much. I would argue really, really saves me money and saves me time. Yeah. I should have known better.
No, it's really true, because it's that's the thing, because you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to try the AI and see how it works, and you just don't realize that the output, the quality of the output, is just so much lower on the free plans for both of them, not just Claude or Chat, but both of them. And and Midjourney, of course, doesn't have a lower plan. It doesn't really matter. You get faster results the more you pay in Midjourney, but with Claude and ChatGPT, it really makes a difference to pay for it. So
it does, yeah. And I got it a lot. Okay, so the difference between the free version of ChatGPT, because I've never paid for that, and the paid version of Claude for me is that I can get it to curse and I can get it to use emojis. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. Then it's going to sound like you.
Yes, it sounds much more like me. I fed it. I can't remember what I actually did. You told me to start a project, I want to say, and I gave it material from my blog post so it could see my writing style. And then once it started generating stuff for me, ideas, bullet points, whatever, it started sounding a lot closer to what I'd actually write myself, and then required less editing. I still edit everything, but less editing for sure.
Yeah. And Leska's asking us, here's my question. are you starting it from scratch to write the whole thing, or are you writing a little something and then throwing it in there? So let's walk you through the process of what we did specifically for this project, because I think the specificity is going to be helpful. So for this project in particular, and this is the one that turned Caitlin into the convert. So we were creating emails, an email sequence for a particular launch that we're both affiliates for. And so we sat down, and what we did, we both did what we fed. I did this first, and this is what Caitlin was watching me do, and she was like, whoa. So it probably took me, I want to say maybe 15 minutes to prepare Claude for the first email. So what I did, and this was before Claude could read the web. So right now it's a lot easier because you can just say, read this website, read my website, learn who I am, learn my voice, read my blog, or whatever. But I went through and I picked out all my favorite blogs and I put them into Claude. I started a project, which you need to be on the paid plan to start a project. Yeah. And I fed in, like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of my favorite blogs that I really like the way I edited them. I like my voice in them, 4 or 5 posts. Then I put in my about page on my website because it tells a really good story of me and my business, so it knows who I am. I think maybe I put in my homepage for similar, because it talks about what I do and like my USP and like what's different about what I do and how I do it. And then once I dropped all of that in, then I put in like a really huge prompt where I explained, there's 4 parts. So I explained what I wanted, how I wanted it, what to watch out for, and context. So let's dive into all those 4, because it was huge. It was the prompt I gave was a huge paragraph. Yeah. So the first thing is like, this is what I want. So I want you to write, you are awesome copywriter. You know tons about writing great hooks and compelling content. Like, I really wanted to tell it exactly how I want you to show up. Don't come to me as a business expert. Don't come to me as my bestie. Don't come to me as, like, I don't know, my hairdresser. You are a stellar copywriter with, like, a talent for writing compelling hooks and creating conversions. Okay, great. That's who you are. That's how you're going to do this. I'm creating a newsletter sequence. So I want you to help me create a newsletter sequence for my audience. And then that's kind of like what I want and how I want it. I want you to, and I would say, like, write it in this style: professional, direct, clear, friendly. That's mine. Those are the ones I always put in: professional, direct, clear, friendly. If I put in fun, it gets a little too, Jerry Maguire for me. Hey, Shazam, business sisters. Like, I'm like, no, calm down, stop that. So, and then I say anything that to watch out for. Don't make it, for me, like, I would say, like, don't make it too cutesy. Keep it concise. Please do not do your AI thing where you are in love with your own words and the sound of your voice and you just keep saying things for the point of saying them. I'm not interested in that. Concise, clear, brief, direct. And then give it context. Okay, here's what we're doing. This is my niche. This is who I work with. This is who I'm addressing all of these to. This is my work. This is what's unique about my work. This is what I want to focus on for these emails. Any context that paints a picture. With all of that content and with that huge detailed prompt, then I could say, here's email number 1, write it. And it would just spit it out. So to answer your question, Lexa, if you want to take the time to do all that back work, all of that stuff, I think you can ask it straight up for the results. Mm-hmm. If you want to, like, sometimes I'm brainstorming, like, let's say I'm writing a newsletter or a blog post where I'm brainstorming and I'm like, I kind of want to write a blog post about this. I might ask for an outline first, or maybe an outline and the intro paragraph first to see if I like the angle and where it's going. Mm-hmm. And then I would say, if I liked it, I would write it. I would say, okay, write it, or make these changes to the outline and then write it. So that's my.
Yeah. I learned all of that from you. And then what I've started doing is following, I think you gave me a Reddit thread or something that was like, not the whole thread, but the image that they shared was from the guy that was like the OpenAI founder.
Yeah, he was one of the founders of OpenAI. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like the anatomy of a good prompt. And it has goal, return format. So like how I want this thing that you generate, the warnings, and then the context dump. And if you give it all of that, like, here's why I'm doing this thing, how I want you to do it for me, what I don't want you to do, and why. And then it returns pretty good content.
Yep. That's the secret. Those 4 things are really the secret. So yeah, that's awesome. And so after that, so that blew your mind. I remember watching me do that, and you were like, wait, okay, how do I do this? And so then you went through the whole process that I did.
Yeah.
And then, but then like pretty quickly you started using it for all kinds of other things. So do you want to speak to that for a minute?
Yeah, so I actually have projects in my Claude account I'm looking at now. I have one for our podcast. I have another one for my website because I'm about to change up the user journey on that. And I have one for our survey, and I have another one for other affiliate promo. And then I have club management. I have another one for my blog.
Nice.
And the cool thing is because it can, I mean, Chat GPT too, but you can upload the files for things. So the next thing that's on my list is actually to take, so I have a content guide collection form in Tally. I'm going to take that exported submission file with all of their answers to all of the questions and dump it into a project and say, based on this, help me write the website copy and see how good that comes out.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. For my own, it's sometimes like, how do I change my marketing strategy? Or when we send you guys the report for our financial survey, that's something you can upload and say, like, based on this data, what decisions do I need to make about my own process? You can upload exported analytics for your website, exported analytics from QuickBooks, from Stripe, from wherever you collect money. And you can say, like, based on how I'm making money and based on my website analytics, what do you take away from this? What blog posts are most popular? Where are people showing up? What do I need to do next? Can help you make decisions. It's not that it should do the work for you necessarily, like completely, but it really is genuinely more helpful to get sort of that like third party in your office where there wouldn't be one because we work by ourselves.
Right.
And that's really helpful.
Yep. And again, I think it's so important to tell it how you want it to answer you, and like all of those things. Say, look, I want you to act as like a really successful affiliate marketer, or I want you to act as a really successful high level business coach, or I want you, what would your advice be to analyze this data and tell me how to attract more high ticket clients? I mean, you can, if the more context you give it, the richer and more meaningful your answers are. And so, yeah, that was my big learning curve with all of this.
Yeah. And I have to say too, one of the funniest moments since I've been using this after you introduced me was when you accidentally made a typo in your answer.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. So I was in Claude and I was typing and I was doing a bunch of different things. My WhatsApp was going nuts. My phone was blowing up. It was just one of those like moments where a lot of things go on. And when that happens, my neurodivergence goes crazy. And I kind of like my fingers kind of short out on the keyboard. And I sometimes will, instead of hitting the back key, I'll hit return, I'll hit enter. And the funny thing was what I had typed that I was trying to erase was TF, and just lowercase, just a little TF, just a little typo, not a big deal, just TF, enter. And I was in Claude, and Claude was like, oh, I can see how you might be confused by my response, because apparently it thought I was saying the fuck to whatever it had just said. It gave me this whole apology and like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you bad info. Let me try again. I can do it right this time. And I was like, it's okay. Calm down. You're going to be fine. It was hilarious.
So the motto is, or the lesson is, it has feelings and we need to be nice to it.
That was another thing. We were working together, and Caitlin saw me go, "Hey, Claude, how's it going?" Before I put in my prompt, and she was like, "You talk to it?" And I'm like, "Well, yes, we are friends. We have a relationship." What do you mean? So anyway.
Sometimes when it gives me a response to it, I'll be like, "Oh, I've totally done that before," or last year, and I'm like, "No, you haven't." Thank you. Thanks for trying. I appreciate the gesture.
That's cute. So, okay, so this is a fun segue into one of the other things we had thought we might talk about is the ethical considerations. So apparently you were saying that you had read somewhere that had designed Claude to be more ethical than ChatGPT, whatever that means. But the result of that is like Claude tells people no more, which I have definitely seen. So what did you read or see? Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
it was a video on a channel. I'll try to remember to put the link in the comments below after this live is over. But basically, the guy was saying that Claude was actually designed from the get go to produce more accurate results, which is also tied to its ethical behaviors. Whereas ChatGPT doesn't have quite that extent of it, is my understanding. And so that's why sometimes when you ask Claude to do something, it'll be really hesitant or cautious in the way that it answers, or it'll just flat refuse if it feels like it could cause harm in some way. So I actually really like that
Oh, that
because
drives me nuts.
I mean, for things that like, oh, I had never even considered that that could be an issue, like, because we don't know what we don't know, like, especially for new people coming into it, I think that's probably a good thing to have guardrails built in, and then if it drives you crazy, maybe you should.
Yeah, I know. Well, and it's funny too because they were designed to work differently. I wonder if Claude needed the guardrails because it's designed to be a little more creative than
Mm,
than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is designed to be more linear and like logical and
yes.
streamlined and like straightforward. And so maybe that's why it didn't need that and Claude did. I mean I don't really know. I'm not privy to all the behind the scenes of how they developed these two tools, but maybe that's a part of it because I like Claude better for voice and for how it matches my style and tone and stuff. And I do like the content that it produces a lot better. I feel like a lot of the ChatGPT stuff. I mean, I'm starting to like. I just read a book. I just bought a book by a guy who I really like, but I bought his book and then I read the whole book and I was so annoyed because you could just tell it was the whole book was just AI slop. You could hear the AI, the that chat voice, like just ringing through the whole book. And I was like, come on. But my point is, I like Claude better for style and tone, but it annoys me when I ask it a question and it's like, well, because what was I asking it for the other day and it told me no. And I was like, I wanted an avatar. But I didn't say, remember you and I were even talking while I was doing it. I was like, oh, where are my clients? That was what it was. I created this whole persona, I was building this whole thing to create content, marketing content for my business and stuff. And I explained who I was and who my people were, my USP, all these things. And then I just wanted it to tell me where to go to look for them, like online, right? Like where, but I just typed in, again, the value of the prompt. All I typed was, where are my clients? And I got this whole thing. But I don't actually know where your clients are, but you might want to look back in your CRM and see, and like, Claude, just got. So anyway.
I noticed too in that video I was watching earlier, he said the prompt can change the output in Claude better or more effectively than in ChatGPT, where like if you change the prompt slightly in ChatGPT, you're probably going to still get pretty close to the same answer. But if
Yeah,
you change the prompt in Claude a little bit, your output can be drastically different, which I think is fascinating. And
I have
I've seen that.
I have seen that too. Yeah, and that's another one of the reasons that I like Claude more than Chat is I feel like I have more control. Again, to Leska's
Mhm.
question earlier, I can put a prompt into Claude and play with it, and if I don't like the output, I can edit it. Oh, edit it, and Chat seems a little stubborn, like a little one track.
It does, and I don't know if that's because, again, I haven't ever paid for their paid plan, and so I don't know, but and so it could be better. I'm sure it's probably better
Yeah,
on the paid plan, but for the time being, I'm only paying for the one of them, so
interesting, interesting.
yeah. But it does also do code pretty well, I've noticed, so they both have pros and cons. Really, really like Claude better of the 2 of them.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. So far,
Mhm.
we'll see how the next updates go, but so far.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys. So I'm wondering what you guys would like to see next. So we've in our in our 1 hour prep for this episode, because things change so quickly, we were trying to talk about if we wanted to talk about how Claude could help you create content for your business and promote your business, or if you maybe wanted to learn how to use Claude to create content for clients, like how to create content for web design clients. So let us know in the chat, like which one you might want to know more of, which one you're more interested in, and we can dive into that. But while you're doing that, do you want to start with the portfolio piece? Because that's one of the things we were going to talk about today.
Yeah. So I have, let's see if I can share my screen. I have a tally form that I'm collecting responses in. And let me see if I can make this a bit wider. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is get them to fill this out and tell me things about their personality and the kind of characteristics they want their website to embody, so that I know like what tone of voice to use and what color palettes make the most sense and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I use, again, Midjourney to create these images. So again, AI, not Claude. Now that ChatGPT can do this, that might be worth considering, but that's for another. I can't learn a new thing.
Not right now, anyway.
Yeah, I can't learn a new thing right now. So Midjourney to create the little things, and then they can pick like, because what I've noticed for clients specifically is that they have trouble explaining what they feel or think about the design. So they don't know how to tell you, and they inevitably use the wrong terms or wrong words. And this is a little bit better for me to kind of read between the lines, basically. So I'm collecting all of that, their font preferences and whatever. And then for their business basics, like their service package details, what's included in that, what do they want to call it? How do they want to refer to it? Do they want to refer to it as price or investment or whatever? um, Cost, value, and then they can put in their process, so like how it actually works, the parts of the process that they actually want to share. Maybe they don't. And then their competitive advantage and stuff like that. And after they fill this out, I'll dump that file exported from Tally into Claude and say, with this information, help me write the pages of their website. I'll tell Claude what pages I'm going to be designing, and then it will generate some first draft copy for me to plug into the draft.
Do you say more about that? How do you tell it? Do you have a formula? Do you walk it through, like, create a headline for this and a paragraph and then do this and then do that and that kind of thing?
I do actually have some AI prompts, but that's really more for people that are less familiar. So in my course that walks through like how to do kitchen and use that particular template, I have a Google Doc that has the prompts that Claude helped me generate. And it actually has placeholders for them to fit in. So like copy and paste if they're looking for something specific, like if they want a specific homepage layout, this is the setup or the framework for that. And so you could copy and paste, since it has the placeholders built into that. In theory, copy right from the Google Doc, paste into Claude and say, this is the way I want you to output. Now fill in those gaps with the answers from the file that I uploaded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to say a quick thing about what kitchen is? Because you just said kitchen, but you didn't describe.
That's true. It's not very self-explanatory. They picked a very strange name, I have to say. It's not at all related to home or goods or construction or any of that. Kitchen.co is a dedicated client portal system, but it has a lifetime payment. So it's not an ongoing subscription. And it can manage messaging, file sharing, task management, basic invoicing, quotes. It's kind of really fucking awesome. So that's what that is.
Yeah. So so I had a fun thing. So yeah, I have a fun thing we could try. So I want to show you guys how I used Claude to create a sales page, and let's create some dummy sales pages for clients.
I like it.
How does that sound? Does that sound like fun? For clients, or maybe even for templates, or like whatever, if you need to create content, and you can just kind of see how I did this, because I really, I thought this was super useful. Let me say, share screen. Okay. Oh, and yeah, and so also this is my AI prompt guide for web design, imagery, and content, and it goes through like Midjourney stuff and Claude stuff, so like how to create actual copy and then how to create images and stuff, and I have all the prompts and stuff that I use, including what I'm going to show you right now. And right now, the only way to get this is to fill out our financial survey trends, our financial trends survey for web designers, and I will have that link in the description, and Caitlin will probably drop it into the chat. But yeah, it's just a really great, it's totally anonymous. You'll get access to the freebie whether you give us your email address or not, but the email address is just so we can send you the report, but we're going to publish it anyway, so you'll still see it even if you want to remain completely anonymous. But it's just we just wanted to know more about the financial trends in the web design world, because things are changing so quickly. So anyway, if you want this, you can go fill that out. But anyway, so let's dive into anything else. Do you want to say anything else about the survey?
No, I was just thinking that was a great segue to pop that in there. So thank you.
Oh, yes, yes. So, okay, so here is, so let's say accept all and get rid of this, and let me get rid of this. So yeah, so this is the sales page that I did. I did a joint venture in January of this year, and this is the sales page that we created. It's just a long form sales page about this like kind of fun little silly thing that we did. And I created all these images too with Midjourney and stuff. This is like what I do in my brand packages. And we've got FAQ, we've got, calls to action, we've got all kinds of stuff, right? So the way I actually created this is I copied all of the content from another sales page and I put it into Claude. And I don't remember what that sales page was. I want to say it's like a Rachel Peterson or something, but let's just do it with this one. So like, let's copy this, the whole thing. So I just did Control A, Control C. So I literally just copied all of the content, buttons, video, like images, whatever. I just copied it all. And we're going to go over to Claude, and we are going to say new chat, and we are going to say, let's see, who should we create this for? Let's say we have a new client who needs a sales page, and for whatever reason, we found this sales page and just thought it was great, awesome. It's so much like what we want to do for a client. So we're just going to copy all this content, put it into Claude, and ask it to create it for our client. Who's our client? Caitlin, any ideas?
Jessica. She's a social media manager.
Oh, fun. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. So I am a web designer and I need to create a sales page for a client of mine. You are a brilliant conversion copywriter with a talent for great hooks and getting people to buy courses. My client that needs the sales page is what's her name?
Jessica.
Jessica. She is a social media manager and she's getting ready to launch her course on, what do we think? Facebook ads.
Sure.
And then the more detail that you put in here, the more that Claude is going to include. So you don't have to do this piece, but it is kind of nice. Mm-hmm. Her course is a 6-week course that starts on, let's say, June 1st. There are regular weekly calls, membership inside a Facebook group, because if it's for Facebook ads, there's probably a group. And let's see, what else do we think is included?
Oh, AI prompts for writing the captions in ads.
Yes, the ad captions, a workbook, and
Canva templates for the ads.
Ooh, and Canva templates for the ads. The course is, let's say $5.97 because it's a bargain. Jessica's just getting started. And the course is $5.97. She is not offering refunds, but there is a payment option of 2 payments. Okay, what else am I missing?
And paste in your sales page.
Paste in the sales page. Yeah, I think we're ready for that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to say, we're going to start a new paragraph from my own brain. Okay. Write a compelling sales page for her based on the format of this sales page content. Use only content, we're going to say write. Write only copy that relates to Jessica and her business, but use this copy as a template to follow. And depending on my mood, I would say adhere to it closely or just use it as a general guide. Let's say use it as a general guide. All right, and then I'm gonna hit paste, and it's actually gonna paste it as a separate thing, which is fine, and we're gonna hit enter and see what it does. So if we go back to the page and we take a look, oops, let me unhighlight, come on. Okay, so you bought all the courses, learned all the strategies, but you're still struggling. Get unfiltered business insights from 2 experts, the AI Marketing Lab, 30 days behind the scenes. This is the mastermind we wish we had, ever wish you could see behind the scenes of someone else's launch. So we're using all this because we really liked it. We like the angle and everything. We're sharing it all with you. So what is this? It's not a marketing course. It's a backstage pass, blah, blah, blah. Okay, interesting. All right, and here we've got pretty pictures and stuff. So let's see what Claude did. Oops. Oh, did I not hit enter?
You have to open.
This was our chat thingy. Oh, here we go. Now it's working. It just took a minute. It's like I didn't hit go. Okay, so here we go. You've tried figuring out Facebook ads on your own, watched countless YouTube tutorials, but you're still struggling to get consistent results and a positive ROI. Get unfiltered Facebook ads insights from a social media expert. Facebook ads mastery. Not bad. This is the Facebook ads course I wish I had when I started. Ever wish you could see behind the scenes. So this is following it pretty closely. If we wanted it to be a slightly different angle or a little bit different, I would go in and say, okay, use this angle instead. But this is not bad. And then there's all the details. Our 2 payments of $325. I didn't even tell that. It put it in there.
Gives you all the call to actions. It looks like it's telling you where the buttons are with brackets.
Yep. It tells you where to put in testimonials. Obviously, the testimonials you would need to put in from the client. If this were for an actual client, obviously you want to put in real testimonials. But it can be that easy. Yeah.
And sales pages are hard. So
yeah. And again, if there's anything you want to change, obviously you go in and edit it, but this gives you a starting place. This is one of the things that I love about AI and Claude is it gives you something to start with. And so it means you're not starting with a blank page. So
yeah, I love that. Something that I have done when I've been using it too is to actually give it testimonials. Like, this is what people are saying so far about the thing. And I did do that recently for a sales page that I was doing. And it was like, wow, it looks like it's such a hype person. It's like, it's so a cheerleader in your corner. It's like, looks like you've gotten some great feedback so far. And you're like, yeah, I know. Isn't that cool? Thank you. Thank you for noticing.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great to be able to use it, especially like if you're starting a template shop or something, using that copy paste. And now with Claude, you don't even have to copy paste. We could probably actually put in the URL and say, use this as a guide and, write the content for me, but make it about this business, use this angle, like this is the thing that sets her apart. This is how she really wants to, this is her niche, and it'll create all the template copy for you. And it's just nice not to have to think about one more thing, because a template copy is placeholder copy anyway.
Yeah.
So having AI be able to do those tasks is a game changer.
Yeah. And it speeds up the workflow massively.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what else? What other questions did you guys have? What else can we share with you? Is there anything else that you really wanted to know, or anything you wanted to cover, Caitlin?
Look at our notes here. I do have a couple of questions about content or AI in general. Are there any AI tools that would be good to use to enhance the website design? What are you using besides Midjourney and Claude? Are there other things that you're using that are specific to websites, website building, website designing?
No, I use Napkin occasionally to create graphics for blog posts, but that's really it. And very rarely, if you haven't tried Napkin yet, it's really cool. It's a great thing you can put in little. Should we do a little demo of Napkin?
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard
really?
you mention. Yeah, I've heard you mention it, but I haven't actually looked it up.
Oh, fun. Okay, let me pull it up over here while I'm.
While you're doing that, Leska says, "Are we anywhere closer to knowing how SEO is reading AI text?" Um, to date, it seems a whole lot like it can kind of tell if it's just word for word copy pasted. Um, but that's not really I mean, in my opinion, that's not really the point of it. I don't really want to create like okay, so going back to the book that you read by the guy that you like, and then you realized it was all AI written.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, come on.
yeah,
I bought the book because I wanted your brain, not AI's brain. So I
right.
think people are reading our content like that too, and I think Google is absorbing it like that also. So I think the goal would always be using it as a starting point, and we can make it better with our expertise and our thoughts and opinions and make it authentic and unique to us, and then that doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that for sure. And the big shift, I don't know a ton about this yet. I'm still learning about it, but the biggest shift that I'm seeing about, and the thing that people are talking about when it comes to AI is um, it's reading more intent than SEO does. AI is more interested in really helping people solve their problems and stuff. So it's the content that's really starting with how to, and that's very, very information rich, is the content that's performing very well in AI search engines. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of a shift into content that's being created like that. But I mean, I guess we'll see. And like I said, I'm still learning about it. I'm going to share my screen
Yeah, and
again.
as far as using AI for tools, I know that obviously we're both using Midjourney and Claude,
Mhm.
but I also just in prepping for today's episode, it suggested using it for accessibility checker, which is something I
Yeah,
have not tried, but that is an interesting idea.
that is interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very fun. Very fun. Okay, so this is a blog post that I wrote a while ago. It's based on a workshop that I gave like 8 years ago. And one of the pieces here is like why to focus on a niche. So this is just a blog post I wrote that's based on that Claude wrote that's based on this workshop. And so let's just take a section here. So understanding your what. And so when I talk about these, I talk about your what versus your who and how they kind of fit together like a puzzle piece. And so I have this little section in my blog post. Your what is the foundation of your business? What makes you special? When you operate from a place of authenticity, work not only feels easier, it also attracts your ideal clients. So start here. What are you naturally gifted at? When do you feel most energized in your work? And which tasks and activities make time fly for you? If you're struggling to figure this out, don't panic. This reflection can take time, but unlocks everything down the road. So this section actually is kind of foundational and core to what I do and the work I do with clients. These three questions are a gold mine for how to set up a sustainable business. So let's assume this is really important, and I want to highlight this in my blog post. So I want to create a little graphic that highlights this and makes this point. So if we go into Napkin AI and I said create a new napkin, just a blank napkin, they have templates and all kinds of stuff. But so let's say your USP into the title, and let's paste the content. And then if we highlight the content and say, of course, they have changed the interface since I have been in here. Nope, I just highlighted it. That is incorrect. All right, I'm gonna have to figure out how to use this for a second because yay, this is what, and now I can't highlight it again. Oh, here it is. Can I highlight the whole thing and have the little thing come up?
Yeah,
There we go. It's right here. Okay, so if you can see, I click the little lightning bolt. There it is. And so now it gives me some graphics. So discovering your business foundation, this is how it interpreted this little paragraph. Authenticity, natural gifts, energizing activities. Oh, I like the little icon, time, flying tasks with the little, very fun. But let's say we don't want archery. We've got all these different fun. Oh, I don't like any. And you can pick different colors. So once you pick the style, oops, it went away. It's a little clunky, but I really like how it works. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, so we've got different options. Man, it really likes the archery thing for this. Oh, that's fun. Oh, I like this one. So one of the things I tell clients is like, don't just answer these impulsively. I want them to really spend time. This is actually perfect. I love this one. Let's look at some more just to kind of get an idea. That's an interesting little graph, but it creates all these fun things. So you can, I mean, that's fantastic, right? Like these are all great, but so let's go back to the one that I really liked. So really ponder. Now, when I click on styles, I can pick different things, and you can actually put in, there's a place where you can put in your color palette so you can have it create, but right. Then if I create that, yeah. And then I can just say export, and then I can download whichever one I want, and then I can plop it into that blog post. So
that's really cool.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I love that.
It's really fun. It's really fun. It's a great way. So I use that sometimes, especially if I'm creating a blog post for a client or something. A lot of times for a custom site, I'll give them their first 3 or 4 blog posts, and I can create those and put those through. And then keyword up the alt tags a little bit, and like now you've got some really great content in the post for your clients. So you look really fancy.
Yeah, it looks visually interesting too. And
look at all these custom graphics I made just for you.
Yeah. Well, and also some of those concepts work better when you can visualize it somehow. And so, yeah, if you can do both, that definitely helps for the people who are like me and need to see the thing sometimes and not just read the thing to absorb it.
Yep. So that one and Midjourney and Claude are probably the ones I use the most. Right now.
Interesting. It's one of those things that you notice it's popping up everywhere. Like Asana has AI built in, and Notion has AI built in, and ClickUp has AI built in. Squarespace has AI. Oh, and one thing that I will say, have you tried Squarespace's built-in SEO AI so far?
Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. So there's lots of little ways you can do that to save yourself time. It's getting to the point now you might need a checklist to remember all of the ones that exist that you maybe don't use every single day and aren't like living top of mind. But
I'm like, I don't think you need to do that, because in like 4 or 5 months, it's going to be like everything has AI. So it's just a matter of, how does this thing I'm currently using, what's the AI that's going to help me do this task?
Yeah, that's very valid.
Anything else you want to cover? Does anybody else have any questions, any burning AI questions about how we use AI for, we can talk about how we use AI for our imagery, but that's of course a whole different episode.
Yeah, that would be a separate episode, but totally down to talk about that. You're the queen of that. So
I like it. It's really fun. It's really
yeah.
Fun.
Another way you can use it is yesterday I sat down with the co-founder Breely. And of course, before I did that, I had to create a free account and like see what was inside Breely. 'Cause Breely is an online scheduler. And it created my entire account. It scanned my website and set up my account for me based on what it found on my website. It created packages. It created event types. It created price points. And I was actually floored at how little editing and work I'm going to have to do if I wanted to use that tool. So that's kind of incredible. Yeah.
I saw that when it did that too. I was like, wow, that's kind of impressive. And it did a pretty good job. There were a few things that I changed, but it did a pretty good job. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a not very small website, so
Yeah.
kind of impressive.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. This one was super fun. Thank you for being flexible with us as we,
navigate unfamiliar waters.
absolutely, absolutely, and flex with new things that are changing always at the last minute. So, but this was a really fun episode, and I'm glad we did this, and I'm glad we got a chance to share some of our Claude tips and tricks with you. And let us know if you have any more questions. Please leave a comment below, like and subscribe. We're so happy to keep talking about this stuff. We will certainly do another AI episode coming up soon. But we have some fun things in the lineup. We're going to do an episode on fonts and another one on colors, and we're going to get really geeky with web design stuff. So let us know what else you want to learn about, and we'll cover it.
Yeah. And we'll probably do an episode on the report too for the financial survey. So if you want dibs,
Yes.
you gotta go fill out the survey.
Yes, don't miss the survey. Yes, because that's going to be coming out in May. So we're going to share all those findings with you too. We're really excited about that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah. So thank you all so much. Thanks for being here, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.